On the late night, early morning hours of October 1st to 2nd, 1980, a Swiss keyboard trio named Blue Motion snuck into Reihen's studio and briskly recorded their only album before anyone found out. And then they took the tapes and they had the album released on Amos. And from that album, that clandestine recording, the track Stromboli. Okay, and that was the epic Stromboli by Blue Motion, recorded in the after hours at a studio that these three guys snuck into, and just trying to get, they're, saying to each other, all right, we've got just a couple of hours, we gotta get this right in one take, we gotta just get this down on tape and get the tape and get out of here before anyone catches us. And the urgency really comes across in this music. You can tell that they had been rehearsing this for quite a while. Well, two of these guys had been around on the scene for a while, and more on that in a bit, though. It begins with this spinning organ piano fugue amid whirlwind drumming, and goes on for a bit there, and then the cadence tightens at around the 40-second mark for the snappy drum beat and organ melody amid continued piano fugue. That just piano doing that that rapid fire bit there, and then torrential cymbal drumming resumes for a bit, and then a subdued rhythmic feel over the 2-minute mark. Yeah, it kind of, the rhythmic propulsiveness and volume subsides, yielding to a series of keyboard passages. They're generally faint. Some free-form organ runs over the 3-minute mark, rising from the abyss. The drumming starts to intensify again with some snare rolls. A brief resume of the opener around the 4-minute mark, and then another faint section. The organ takes the place of that piano fugue, and a quiet organ duel takes place amid cymbal mist. And this goes on during the 5 to 6 minute stretch. Low rising or octave darting bass line seems to emerge, or it sounds like a bass, and then it actually turns out to be like a bassy keyboard sound. And then that duels with the drumming for a bit, and then this ominous foggy organ rose from the deep at around the 7:30 mark, and it became a tidal wave within 30 seconds and just exploded. And then these crashing piano fragments and cymbal dust just kind of blew about for a bit. And then silence. The track just seemed to completely disappear. And then the somber piano line emerged from the wreckage at around 9-minute mark. And then things got faster. And then actually this, all of a sudden, this faster, more urgent recap of the opening theme began rather abruptly at the 9-minute 35-second mark. And the fugue was more direct this time, less spirally, than before, amid a straight 4/4 beat. And freeform piano sparkling up and down during this passage. And then this piano riff started to tighten, emerge from the briskness, and reined in the track as a whole. And things came to a pre-final at around 12 minutes. And then from that, and then the drumming just kind of ran its course, just pulled up, and then from that this gurgling organ drone just started seeping out, and it was encircled with churchy key sustains going up and down, and this went on for like the final 2 minutes until the fade out. Stromboli by Blue Section, a very intense, brisk, a very harmonically dense piece for just 3 players. Basically just 2 keyboardists and a drummer. A drummer with a relatively simple setup, it seemed. He had the drums, the toms, and the snare, the toms, kick drum, and lots of cymbals. But it sounded really grand, even if I didn't hear like any gongs or timpanis or anything. Like 2 organs and a piano. There are some other songs that have xylophone on here. Fritz Hauser had been in the band Circus from their inception, played on all four of their albums. And of the two keyboardists, Stephan Ammann joined for the final Circus album, Fearless, Tearless, and Even Less. And then Stephan Grieder seems to be a newer guy in the mix here. Yeah, the other two guys, they came out, Circus dissolved earlier the same year. This was recorded in October, yeah. The last Circus album came out earlier in 1980, and so two guys from that final lineup, and Stephan Grieder, yeah. And they, I don't know why they had to sneak into a studio to record this, considering that they had a label to release it. It would have made more sense, say, if they ended up self-pressing it. Yeah, they stuck into a studio for free recording time, and then stuck it. But no, they actually put it out on a label that, well, had at least 60 releases back in. Maybe it got. Oh, it looks like it was one of those labels that only put out a few titles back in the day. Lionel Hampton. But then again, this is Discogs. How do I know for sure? It seems like that label Amos had some things that were really all over the map here. But the catalog number fits. Yeah, LP 5438. Yeah, that aligns. The catalog number aligns with some of the other things like Heine Meyer, LP 5471. Okay, so yeah, that I can confirm. And yeah, anyway, I guess it was just they were kind of on their own as far as funding the recording, and so to cut their costs, they snuck into the studio. I don't know how they got in. I don't know if they used a credit card. I don't know if they knew someone, if they knew like a janitor or someone who just looked the other way, or yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, like sneak into a studio and take advantage of their state-of-the-art equipment. Of course, they had to have known how to work it pretty well. Like with no engineers or producers around, they had to know what switches to flip, and yeah, and then I'm just imagining the nervous energy as they were recording from like midnight to 6, hoping that they didn't trip any alarms, hoping that no security guard came by and saw the lights on, and hoping they got the whole damn thing done and they managed to nail it all in a single take. Yeah. Yeah, they were really tight on this recording though, but those passages, I think that's the sound of, that's the feel and playing of three very nervous guys trying to get it done and get it done down, as fast as they can. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, Blue Motion, a very unique album, kind of harkening back somewhat to the keyboard trio sound of like the early 70s. Early to mid 70s, like bands like Trace, The Nice, of course, ELP, Exception, yeah, and except a little bit more avant-garde than all that too. It's more stylistically, harmonically akin to the chamber sound, and that both were tended to get a bit more fractious at times and use a lot more notes along the scale, more looser, and you'll hear like odd combinations and such, tritones and such, yeah. And somewhat of a free jazz element creeping in at times, 20th century classical and others, yeah. Anyway, the album became kind of a legend when it was reissued during the 90s on Laser's Edge, and yeah, has since become quite the collector's item. It came out again more recently on Bell Antique during the 2010s. Yeah. For more Rubies and Sapphires from the Blue Motion album, see the directory of albums by Swiss artists linked in the description below. And you can also find the Circus catalog on there as well. Yeah. Like and subscribe, follow me on social media, share the video, and leave a comment if there are any observations you have about the big long track we just heard, the intensity, the layers, the interplay between, well, organ, piano, and drums, and the harmonic brilliance of it all, at times the spontaneity of it all, yes. And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most ear travel transmist, signing off.